I think it evolves all the time on what we need to do with it and what I want to do with it and what we can do with it. And
Well, there's definitely some changes. Your dad doing some of the remodeling on the interior, some new pictures being hung up, with you and your brother. But I think the biggest change is just on the exterior. Us putting in the 1 acre pasture for your horses was a way of bringing life to the place. I know your dad had chickens and ducks, but having the horses and the donkey out there and the dogs inside just kind of makes it feel more like what a farm should feel like.
that's a good question, because in the last year and a half, I didn't see having horses in that. So, I think it's just about adapting to every day. And, overall, yeah, we'd love to have beef cattle and 40 acres worth of beef cattle roaming around. And, but now the horses have made me think of going in a different direction, or, 3 months ago I didn't have any fencing or, pasture or anything like that. So now I have that. So, with marijuana passing the other day, I was like, well, can I grow, 32 acres of marijuana plants? But, I thought about hops a few years ago because of the Beer City, USA. And that, so I don't, the master plan, I think, is always evolving. But the beautiful thing is I can do anything I want with it.
Yeah, the barn, I was a teenager, and 4 friends would go to a lake on the other side of Sparta, and we were there when the barn burned down. So that evening we drove out to see everybody here, and that was really heartbreaking to see the big red barn that had stood out here for years to be gone, and the little white barn, which is that still out there?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's gone. That was weird because that was still here because it was on the other side and the wind didn't blow that way, or it didn't catch on fire, so that stayed all right. And the big birch tree is still there and everything. That was here at that time. And there was a big, not a big, but a good sized building there that was set up for milk, because my grandpa used to milk cows, so there was refrigeration in the white building for the milk and all that, and that escaped the fire too. My son has bought the house from my uncle's estate, and he has redecorated the inside of it, so it's changed that way. Years ago, my aunt and uncle, when my uncle picked me up as a 2 to 4 year old, they lived in Sparta. Then they decided to come out here and live, so they took the upstairs and made a bedroom into a kitchen. And so they lived upstairs for, I'm not sure how many years, 10 years at least probably. And then when my grandparents passed away, then they came downstairs and they remodeled it at that time, which was in the 60s, early 60s. They remodeled the downstairs. And then now my son has remodeled it again.
Yeah.
So, we used to have 120 acres here. Orville Maxine sold 90 of the acres to fund their retirement. So now there's only 40 acres here. So that's affected it or changed it since my time here. It's a smaller farm than it was. So that's probably the biggest change. And now obviously the exterior, adding some color, adding green to it instead of just being a white farmhouse. It's now green and white. Tried to take it back to its original look and appearance. Well, obviously by owning it now and changing or freshening everything, I've been able to redo the outside, redo the kitchen, modernize the kitchen a little bit from what it was. There were drop ceilings and stuff. I think in time as the ceiling started to deteriorate, they put in a drop ceiling. And then, so when I was a kid, the ceilings were only 8 feet tall, and now they're 10 feet tall again. So I've just been able to do things like that to it. Just out.
Wow. I guess kind of that as a little girl, and then always knowing I could come out here and visit and stay, and the seasons, the apples, just everything. Gave me a well-rounded home life and lifestyle for growing up. Had to have grandparents and aunt and uncle and my parents, and then had some cousins and stuff. So a well-rounded life.
I don't think it's changed me. I think it's brought out another side of me. So like I've always said that I have a country club side to me and a country side to me. I grew up in the suburbs, and I grew up in Forest Hills, but then I would come out here and spend a lot of time. So between the two places, growing up and moving to Chicago and living the big city life, but always keeping an eye on this place and wanting to come out here and be part of it and stuff like that. So it didn't change me, it just finally came out in me now that I own it.
Changed me. I don't know. I think it's made me aware of the fact that having a little bit of space and being out in nature is actually calming to me. I mean, I didn't grow up around a farm, but coming out here, it was something that I kind of thought about in my future. You know, would this be a place or something like it where I could retire, or would I want to be in a place where maybe you didn't have really close neighbors, but it still felt like a sense of community and just having some time with nature. So I think it just opened my eyes to that possibility of that being something in my future.
How do you think?
So I would say your dad and I, we started dating in 1993, and so we came out here to meet Orvin Maxine. I think I met Orvin Maxine here at the farm before I ever met your dad's dad. That's how important the farm was and they were to him.